All right. Okay, beautiful. All right, sweet. So finally got this to work. 10 times the charm. So today I want to talk about why you're spending hours in the gym, but you're not seeing progress. Now, this is something that I find a lot of people get really frustrated over, and this is typically the time when people feel like quitting or they feel like it's just the genetics or whatever that may be. So my hope and goal for this here today, if the app will and computer will work with me, is to kind of clear up what could be going wrong if that is you and you are starting to feel like that, and give you like a game plan and something that you can actually follow through and execute to break that plateau. Because what I have found is that it's typically one of three areas actually causing us to not see progress despite the fact that we are going to the gym. It's either your strategy, so what you're actually doing when you get in there, your execution, so that's how you're actually doing the strategy, and then your mindset. Like, what is your mental approach that you bring to your workouts and to your life in general? All right. So we're going to go over this today. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit. Again, if the computer will work with me here. Come on. Okay, here we go. Boom. All right. So first, I want to talk about like who is this for and who is this not for. Let's see if I can move this little icon. Boom. So that way you can see it a little bit better. So, who is this not for? Dang it. This is not for the people. Oh my gosh. 1 second, buddy. Wi-Fi is being terrible today. Cool. So I want you to be honest with yourself about this one, right? Do a little bit of self-reflection, right? Because this is not for people who are looking for quick fixes or shortcuts, right? This is people who actually are wanting to get something out of the effort that they put in the gym. This is not somebody that's scared or nervous or hard-headed and not willing to try something new, because we got to be willing to try not seeing the results that we want to be seeing. And this is also not for the people who think that one thing, it's like keto or specific exercise, make a difference. At the end of the day, we're going to talk about what does make a difference. The last thing is you're not, like I kind of mentioned, you're not willing to look at things differently, right? So who this is for is the people who want long-term lasting change, who want to figure out what is going to be best for them and actually execute it, actually apply it. This is for the people who are really willing to put in the work for it. Those who are open and willing to change their perspective and want to challenge themselves at a deep level than just showing up, right? Because anybody can show up, but not everybody can put forth that effort to really talk about it. Come on, computer. All right. Pitfall number one, strategy. Training without a plan. This is typically the big people do wrong, is they don't have a plan. They just are showing up at the gym, generally want to hit chest today or back or legs, whatever that may be, but they're kind of picking whatever's going to be open, going in with a plan of like, what are they going to do? What's the sequence that they're going to do it, and everything in that regard, right? So, or following a random AI generated, gut program or just something that an influencer is posting. And it's basically just showing up with no direction, right? Like, would you ever show up to a job without having some sort of like a game plan or something that you want to get out of it? No, right? You're just going to sit there with your thumb up your butt and you're not going to get fired pretty quick. So if you are tasked with creating the plan, then you'll go create it. Or you don't understand, somebody's going to give you the plan to go ahead and follow through and execute. So what to have with what's out of your workouts. So now this isn't talking quite yet about like how, it's still just like what are we doing with it, what is our strategy, right? So that is like are your workouts broken, right? The split is like the common thing that we hear online these days. So what does that look like? What are you doing for that? When are you training chest? When are you training arms? Exercise in the workout, are you going to hit those? And that is what it means to go into the workout with an intention of, this is what I'm going to train today. But I would also say, beyond just like a program that is designed you specifically, your goals, what you have access to, you also need a realistic schedule for realistic schedule for actually being able to follow through. So take about 5 days a week if you know that you can maybe only get in three. Don't even say you're going to do four if you know you can only get in three. Even if you're going to do just two, like crush it for those two workouts. All right. So just have something that you can realistically stay consistent with. And if that improves, or by improve, I mean, if you have more time you want to make, great, go for it. But until you're at that point, just go ahead and pick a schedule, pick a split, a number of days that you can work out a week that you can commit to. And then within those days, we want something to help you to focus on the areas you need to focus on, prioritize things that you want to prioritize at the top, and then slowly go down from there. All right. Random programs, random results. We want to be specific with it. Okay. And then once you have that workout program, what that helps you to do is back to the intention point of going into each workout with an intention of to my bench press today. I want to have more control of my squats today as I go down. I want to test myself and do a little bit more weight for my curls and see what happens, right? So without a good plan, you're not going to be able to actually follow through on those things. Am I still recording? I think I'm still recording, so I'm just going to keep going, even though it seems as though my camera has shut off for whatever reason. So cool. Let's talk about pitfall number 2, execution. So like effort does not always create progress, right? You need effort to create progress, but if you have misguided effort for the sake of effort, it's not always going to help you to build the body, make the progress that you really want to at the end of the day. So the biggest mistake I see people make, a few of them, right, is one, just defaulting to 3 sets of 10 without any purpose, right? Just saying like, I'm going to get these workouts in, I'm going to do X amount of reps, but they're just doing it to feel as though they've completed something by doing those 10 reps for those 3 sets. That's not going to help you to see progress. Second is just training until it burns, or just chasing the burn rather than actually focusing on what you're trying to get out of the exercise. Thinking showing up is enough, and being too form focused at the expense of intensity. So like, you do need good form, you need to be aware of it, but that does not mean that you're so focused on form that you forget about the most important piece, the intensity that you bring to the exercise. So things that you want to keep in mind, I'm going to do these a little out of order from what they are on the page. It's just, I was writing from the brain. But the first thing that I want you to think about is how many sets are you doing per week, right? So in the last thing we talked about, breaking down your workout split and how many workouts you're doing in a week and having them designed for what you want to get out of it. So something that you need to keep in mind for that, as well as the execution, is how many sets are you doing close to or to failure in a week. You want to be generally somewhere between at least 4 to 12 sets per muscle group per week. Okay. So the areas that you really want to develop, give them a little bit more love. But the ones that you're like, you need to develop, even if they're not as much of a priority, make sure you got at least 4 hard working sets in there per week. Now, the only sets that count are the ones that are taken close to failure. So what that means is that failure is when you're doing the right form, you can just no longer lift the weight anymore. That's a great thing, right? And if you don't hit your 3 out of 10 reps or your 3 sets of 10 reps, but you hit that point, that's better, because that means that you're actually producing a stimulus necessary to build muscle. So we want that, okay? So some things to look for if you are training close enough to failure is if the hard part of the rep gets slower as the set goes on. If that hard part of the rep, like pushing the weight up on a bench press, does not slow down as you go through your sets, you're not training close enough to failure. If your form starts to break down, that means you're getting close to failure. You don't want to let it break down. You want to keep good form as best you can, but it's at least a sign that you're pushing yourself and you're getting close. And then the last big thing that I like to say to look out for is like, you need that 90 to 2 minute breather between sets, because if you feel good to go after 30 or 45 seconds, you are not training hard enough. And then the other big thing that I want you to keep in mind with this too is, are you having enough time to recover in between training a muscle, right? If you want to grow your chest, don't train it every day. Give yourself at least 2 days for it to rest before you go ahead and you hit it again, right? And then I've already talked about form and how important that is as well. Now, a few other details that are not on the page here that I want to keep in mind is how you go about your sets and what is your intention and your execution for how you're going to progress every single week is one of the big pieces that is under the strategy as well as the execution here of, like I said before, keeping in mind, where do you want to progress every single day? So a big overarching tip that I would give you for execution is have an intention of how you're going to progress every day. That does not mean that you're going to hit it every time. But if you have that intention, if you have that thing you're striving for, then you're more likely to A, hit it, and B, you can also, if you're not hitting it for 2 to 3 weeks in a row, you can take a step back and look at what is going on. Do I need to switch on my workout program? Have I just been getting terrible sleep before it? Am I malnourished going into this workout because I'm trying to be in a deficit, right? What is going on that is causing that? And that can help you to make a more educated decision on how you adjust your program or your approach to see the progress you want to see. Okay, so that's a big thing that's not on the page, but arguably the most important part. Now, the last piece, last pitfall is a mindset. Because there is a difference between making your goals a nice to have and a must, right? A nice to have is when you're like, yeah, I work out, like, why am I not seeing muscle growth? A must is when it's like, I am working with a coach. Well, you don't need to work with a coach, but I am following a workout program. I have intention with what I am doing in every single workout. I'm striving for progress every step of the way. Why am I not making it? That's somebody that like I can have a conversation with and help them to pinpoint what is wrong and what they need to do. If they're just like, yeah, it'd be cool to be bigger or leaner or whatever, then they don't really care enough about it. And if that's you, like, fair. I think everybody needs a baseline for health just from a longevity and living well standpoint, but not everybody needs a massive aesthetic, right? But if you do want that aesthetic, and I got a funny feeling if you're watching this video all the way through, you want that aesthetic, respect, I do, and I did, and you can get there, but it has to be a must. It has to be a priority for you. That does not mean that it is a higher priority than your family or your career, but it means at times you are going to prioritize it over your family or your career. And that doesn't mean that you skip a meeting or don't do something with your kids or your spouse, whatever it is. It just means you plan it into your week, despite how busy you are with those other responsibilities. That means that maybe you say, okay, honey, can we do date night at 7 rather than 6? Because I want to get a quick workout in after the gym. Or, if you have a big meeting and a presentation, you might push through to that, and that was a priority. But then right after, it's like, I'm going to go and I'm going to get my workout in because now I can prioritize my fitness. Something along those lines, right? So the point is it's never going to be perfect, but it has to be a must. You have to be willing to put in effort, delay gratification, not do the thing that you want to do sometimes to do the thing that you have to do to build that body. And here's the best part about that. When you delay that gratification and then you start to see results, you're going to feel really good about yourself. You're going to feel really proud about the decisions that you made and how far you've come. And you might not believe me on that right now, but once you get there, I promise you'll see it. And you'll be like, oh man, now I know what Troy was talking about. Right. So at the beginning, make it a priority and focus on done being better than perfect. The more momentum you create, the better you can optimize your workouts or your meal plans or whatever it may be. But just focus on make it a must to get it done. And then if you've been making a must, you've been getting it done for a month or two, cool. How can we refine your workouts? How can we add in more steps to help you lean out? How can we make sure you're getting in enough protein and keeping your calories down? Because you're already paying attention to all these things. So now let's go a level deeper and a level deeper and a level deeper until A, you have the body that you want, and B, you have a good approach that you can sustain, right? Because the biggest thing is getting to that body is, yes, must be a must, but building the habits to sustain that body needs to also be a must, because nobody wants to just get that body and then lose it a day later. I mean, it's not going to be lost a day later, but you can lose it a lot faster than you got it. So keep that in mind. You need to be building the habits simultaneously to be able to build it. And that's part of what I try to do with all of everybody that I work with, all my one-on-one clients, which I only work with people one-on-one right now, is not only help them get to that body, but help them to create a sustainable approach. And that way they can maintain it, and working with them every step of the process with their strategy, with their execution, with their mindset to make sure that they're constantly making progress. And if they're not, we have a solution to try to help them to get back on track. And if you made it all the way through this video, I got a funny feeling you actually care about what you are doing and your fitness. So I'm going to offer a free strategy call. So it's really just to explore what my coaching looks like, how it would specifically apply to you. And if it is something that makes sense for you because you watch this video, I'm going to give you a month of coaching free. That's only if it really makes sense. All right. So there's going to be a link to book time on my calendar down below in the comments. So if you're interested in discussing further, learning if it's going to be right for you, and of course, getting that month off as well, go ahead, click a link, schedule some time. Let's have a chat. No commitments necessary. But regardless, Focus on these 3 pitfalls. Make sure you got a good strategy, crushing that execution, and got the right mindset, and you will see progress. Until next time, have a good one. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, there we go.